What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you guys a Hardlight troll guide. A lot of people have been asking for this, so here it goes. First things first, is a troll, you want to make sure you're opening the door. That way your DPSs, your tanks, everybody, they can be the first ones up there. When you go up, I use my light blast finisher to put the defense debuff, and then I use the lightweight that drops on them to put the damage output debuff. And then I'm just going back and forth and using that, and I'm literally spamming group shield, which, as you guys saw, I used it twice already because I have the back mod that resets, which we're going to talk about at the end of the video. When I get to this part, I use my magma to stun those ads, and then I'll dash attack, which is going to give me a speed boost and a shield to get that console right away. Then I'm going to fly over, well, I'm going to super speed over. I'm going to go quickly for that pickup because I see someone dies. And this is a run where there's deaths, but it's just perfect for you guys to see how quick I'm putting debuffs, how quick I'm getting pickups, how quick I'm doing the mechanics. This is all crucial as a troll. You see how quickly I do it all. You have to have a sense of urgency when you're trolling, especially at this first hallway, because you got to get the doors open, you got to do the pickups, you got to put the debuffs, you got to keep the powers up. You see, no one runs out of power. All this is crucial. So if you want to be a top tier troll, you got to be able to move quick. But this goes the same with tanking, this goes the same with DPSing, this goes the same with healing. If you guys want to be a top player, or you want to be a good player, you want to improve, you got to have that sense of urgency. If you don't have that sense of urgency, you're simply just not going to get the results you want. Anyways, for first boss, it's literally the same loadout. Only thing I do is I put on hand clap just to do extra damage. You don't have to run this. I just do it just to do some extra damage, and then I just run the normal shield, and then I run the group shield. But here's where it gets a little bit fun and a little bit tricky as well. I do ally swapping. Now, once I hit my troll shield, I'm gonna ally swap. You see, I hit my troll shield, I'm gonna take out Jon Stewart, and I'm gonna put Batman Who Laughs. You may ask, LV, why do you put Batman Who Laughs? Well, my first ability is a finisher, and we're gonna talk about that at the end. But Batman Who Laughs finisher, when you pop him, he throws out a red gas, which you can see on the screen. That's gonna put an additional debuff on the group, on the bosses, which is gonna allow the enemies, your group members, to do more damage. And you see how quick that guy dies? I'm quick to get that pickup. This is what I'm talking about. You got to have that sense of urgency. Everything quick. So now we got a troll shield up. As you guys saw, I reset it. So we have another troll shield. I'm waiting for it to go down, and I pop another one. So that's back-to-back troll shields. Mind you, I'm going to show you guys my spec, but I have so much dominance with the way I'm spec'd. But we're going to go over that in the end. So my shields are actually very, very strong. As you saw, the boss just charged towards the tank, and the shield just completely ate it. And you saw how quick the burn was, and we don't even have crazy burn because I'm buffing them that much. People don't understand that if you buff like in the correct way, you're actually going to do insane buffs. Now, I'm going to be going over the arts and the allies and everything you can do to maximize your buff at the end of the video, but I kind of wanted to go over the gameplay. The magma, I again put it on here. A magma is a nice grouping. It groups the ads, and it also CCs them, but it's not a hard CC, so it's really good to use as a troll, especially if you see that one ad is strangling or something like that. You can use that to stop them from like hitting the group. Anyways, here it's just pretty straightforward. First boss. I usually like to say, as a troll, you should only have to close maybe one, if not two portals. You shouldn't have to sit there and close too many portals. As long as the burn is good enough, you should be pretty good. But other than that, spamming troll shield and then trying to ally swap it. Like here, I don't use the Jon Stewart. I should have, but I think I noticed it here, and then I ally swap. So on hallways, I use Nubia and General Zod, because Nubia buffs the group, and so does General Zod. And then on boss fights, I use General Zod, and then I use Jon Stewart, and then I swap into Batman Who Laughs. So that's what I'm basically doing. Other than that, pretty straightforward. Now we're gonna go over, after I show you guys this gameplay, we're gonna go over all the skill points and the arts, the allies real fast, so you guys can see exactly how you should be speccing. Unfortunately, that guy died right before my troll shield came up, so I didn't have the shield to protect him, but I popped it right after. Again, you notice how as soon as someone dies, I'm there for the pickup. Now, what's so good about this spec is I have so much defense, so much dom, and so much health that I'm essentially like a tank as a troll. That's why you see I'm not really scared to get in there and get a pickup, because I know I'm not going to die. Alrighty, so first things first, let's talk about the gear. The gear, you have to have the ultimate mod. Grants 15% supercharge back to when you use a supercharge. This is going to allow you to continuously spam your group shield because you're going to keep getting supercharge. You're going to need the critical power chance for your neck mod. You're going to need the back mod. This is also crucial because it's going to reset your group shield. The reason why it resets it is because your group shield is considered a shield. So it actually can reset it. So you can actually pop 2 group shields back to back, as you guys saw in the video. Then what else do we have? We have the chest mod, which is also very crucial. It gives you 15% health. So you got to get that ultimate mod. If you guys are on PC, I have a bunch of those mods. So if you guys would like to buy one off me, you guys can let me know. Because I have a ton. I think I have more on my other tune. But yeah, you have to have the chest mod, the ultimate chest, the ultimate head, and the ultimate back for this troll setup to work. The legs, all it's going to do is just give you a critical chance for weapons and ability. It's nice to have if you want to do some extra damage, but it's not necessary. Now, the hands, max damage, also not necessary for troll, but it's nice to have, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, troll gear. Arts, you want book, raw, sinestro ring, claw, and tetra. So book, let me tell you guys something. Book gives you 30% vit, 30% prec, 30% restoration, 30% defense, and then it gives you 45% incoming heal and might. And the thing about it is, it gives you, a lot of people don't know this, but it actually gives you dominance, even though it doesn't say it. So when I get in combat, if you guys look at my stats, it's at 245. When I get in combat, look at how the dom is going up. It doesn't say it gives you dominance, but it does. You just saw how it went up. So the book art gives you dominance, and it gives you defense, and it gives you resto, gives you vit, gives you prec, gives you might. It literally just gives you pretty much every stat line. So you definitely want to have that book art. You'll do more damage, you'll have stronger shields, you'll give out more power. It's just like you can't go wrong with having the book art. And also I do want to mention the book art is also good for tanks. It's also good for DPS. The only role I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it on, at least not right now, is for healing. Raw is very simple. It makes your debuff stronger, and it also hits multiple targets. So you definitely want to have that. Sinestro ring. So the Sinestro ring debuff stacks with the raw debuff, and not only that, but it also makes you less power hungry. Not only that, it also gives you supercharge back, so allowing you to spam those group shields more. So Sinestro ring is crucial. A lot of people are sleeping on Sinestro ring, and it hits all the targets automatically. You don't have to do anything. Claw, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Claw is a 7% might, restoration, and dominance, and it also gives you 5% critical for 12 seconds. But the catch is it no longer power heals, which means you're going to be giving out less power, which is part of the reason why you have to be a power that can repeatedly spam the group shield, so that way you can keep the power up. So that's crucial, and we're going to be going over that in just a second. But yeah, this is basically going to buff the group. The good thing is, if you use this in a raid, it does give you 3% vit per group member. So since there's 7 group members, you'll get 20% extra vit, which is very good. So you really want to have, pretty much all these arts you want to have maxed out, except for Tetra. Tetra, you can kind of swing having it at 120 or 160. Obviously 200 is better though. Tetra, depending on your health, which we're going to talk about in a second, depending on your health, you're going to give 2% of that, actually 4%, because it doubles in troll roll, of might. So you're going to buff your whole group. So that's going to be crucial. And then the same thing goes for cog, but nobody's really using precision. But if precision ever became the meta, it would just replace that. But yeah, that's pretty much the arts. Now let's talk about the pet. So the pet, I'm using Tomba. If you guys do have it, you should use that because it gives you 5% health. A lot of you guys won't have that because the Tomba is actually a pretty rare pet. I believe there's a seasonal, I think it was the one that's actually coming up. I think it's the February Valentine's one. I think there's a pet in that one that also has 5% health. Pet, but you can't get it right now. But if you do have them, use that. The other things you guys can use is you guys can use the troll trinket. This is just going to give you more vit to help, you know, with people being power hungry. And then you can also use OMAC, which is going to give you a little bit of toughness and health. That's not going to make a huge difference, but it will surely help. And then the next thing is you want to make sure you go over to your generator, and you want to make sure you have health generator mods. Health 51.4 health generator mods. As you see, that's 20,000, and I have 4 of them. That's 80,000 extra health. And then for the VIT, same thing. I have the 51.4s. You want to have the affinities. You want to have the debuff efficiency, and then auto breakout, and might bees. And then these are the generator mods you want to have. Now, when we talk about skill points, okay, this is where it gets a little tricky. All right, especially if you guys don't have that much skill points. So let me actually respec. If you don't have that much skill points, I would recommend going super powered, critical power chance, critical magnitude. You're going to put minimum 100 into health, 100 into health, 100 into VIT. Those are the first 2. Now, if you still have more skill points, put 100 into Dom. You still have more skill points, put 100 into might and power. Now you may say, okay, why are we putting 100 into all of them? Okay, the reason why a lot of people don't know this is when you get to 100 skill points in any trait, it gives you 10% stat buff. As you guys can see, 10% might, 10% health, 10% dominance, 10% VIT. But once you go past that 10%, all it's going to do, it says it right there, next level, it's plus 200. It starts just giving you little by little. So you want to get that 10% stat line on all of them if possible. But if you have lower SP, I would go VIT and health first. VIT and health first. Because I'm going to explain why you don't go into Dom in a second. But then now the remaining skill points that you have after this are going to go into health. And this is obviously after you spec your brawling, weapon I do brawling with the martial arts weapon mastery. And then I get, you guys can get the, I mean, honestly, you don't really need much iconics. I would maybe get Hardlight shield if you guys want a shield. Really just magma. I would say magma and then dash attack. The main thing you need. Dash attack. Just to run this loadout that I have here. Boom. Boom. This is for hallways. For the boss fight, I use hand clap. Again, it doesn't matter. You don't have to use hand clap. I just do it for some extra damage, and you can just run the normal shield if you want, or you can still run dash attack. It doesn't really matter. The only reason why I don't run dash attack on the boss fights is because I tend to get grounded randomly, so I don't want to rely on that. But anyways, back to the skill points. Let's say you put 100 into all 4 of these, and you still got remaining skill points. Dump the rest into health. After you dump the rest into health, dump the rest into dominance. So that's how you're gonna spec. So and you should be going super powered. I'm hybrid, but honestly, I think super powered is better because whenever you're hybrid, you do get a little bit of stats. You get the dominance and the VIT, but then you're just more power hungry. You can kind of swing it. I was doing it. I mean, you see it in the video. I'm swinging doing hybrid, so you guys can try it out. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Now, for augments, I use dominance augments. Now, you may ask why. The reason why is because it gives me 3% dominance and health. So the dominance is going to allow my shields and debuffs to be stronger. My shields and debuffs are going to be stronger, and I'm going to have better CC, which is going to allow me to do, what you guys saw, which is stun the ads whenever I want to. And then also the more health I have, the more of a buff I'm going to give my Tetra. So a few things I do to buff my health is I'll use my seasonal cookies, which is these seasonal cookies, and I'll go ahead and use it even for this video. And I'll use a compound, and then after that, I'll pop my Tombot, and then I'll pop my trinket. And now once I've done all this and I go into combat, you guys can see my stat. Look, 2 million health. Now, mind you, you guys can see my stats. You guys can compare it to your stats. And this isn't even the highest stats. You guys might say, what do you mean it's not the highest stats? The reason why it's not the highest stats is because my augments don't even trigger until I'm in the content or in the open world. So that's why you see here I have 2.1. So yeah, and that's without the tank giving me any health. If the tank runs the proper setup, the tank is going to give me even more health. I've had runs where I've literally hit over 3 million health, which I'm going to make a full video on how that works. But if the tank runs, I'll tell you guys, the tank runs Heart of Isis, and the tank runs refractor, they can give you up to 1 million plus health to the troll, and when they do that, you're at like 3.1 million health or more. Your tetra buff, since it bases off 4% of your health, if you guys sit there and do the math, 4% of 3.1 million, it's a lot of might that you're going to be giving the group. Plus the claw is giving 7% might, and then you're double debuffing, and then you're also procking infinite shields. Yeah, you're doing crazy stuff. Mind you, you're not only buffing the group, you're also buffing yourself. So you're actually doing, you could do pretty good, like you naturally battle troll, even though you're maximizing buffs, maximizing power, you still naturally battle troll just because of how much might you end up having with the buffs, and plus the book art, you end up having insane amount of might. But that's pretty much the skill points. I know this was a little bit long of a video, a little longer than usual. I mean, it's 15 minutes, I believe, or 16, but I wanted to make sure to make it clear of everything I'm using. I do use breakout. This is mainly just if I'm going for a pickup, I don't get stunned, I'll use it, or if I want to clip an orbital or something. I did forget for the allies. So for the hallways, like I said in the video in the beginning, I'd use Superboy, Nubia, General Zod. When I get to the boss fights, I'll use John Constantine, John Stewart, and General Zod. When the bosses are getting a little lower, I'll use Batman Who Laughs. Hitting an enemy below 45% health with a finisher arms your next finisher with a toxin bomb that lowers their defense by 7%. Now, 7% may not seem like a lot to you guys, but it is a lot. Because when we're talking about B&E plus, these bosses have a lot of defense. So when you trigger this Batman Who Laughs, it does make a difference. So you can literally activate the John Stewart shield and then hit the finisher if you want to have like a long casting move, and then swap this in. You don't have to do it, but if you really want to be an end game troll and really help the group, you do that. And this light blast is a defense debuff and it's a finisher, so you get both right there. That's why it's so good. And then it also resets, as you saw, like literally the Hardlight shield's already off cooldown, so I have it twice. I just used it twice and it hasn't even been 30 seconds, so it reset. And and the cool thing about it is lightweight strike is a supercharged generator, and it's also a damage output, so you can use that. And mind you, this is one of the only, Hardlight is one of the only powers that has a supercharged generator that's a damage output, because most of the powers their healing or defense. This is like one of the only ones that's damage output, and it's also not a hard CC, meaning that it's not going to give the targets immunity. It knocks them down, but it doesn't give them immunity. You see how they don't break out? So that's what we want. We want to knock them down, but we don't want to give them immunity, because when they get immunity, now the tank can't give them CCs. So that's pretty much it. Pretty sure I cover pretty much everything. And yeah, again, last thing I want to say, again, sense of urgency. Every run, try to buff yourself. This is why you guys got to take advantage of these seasonals. Make sure you stack up on the buffs. Every seasonal, pretty much, you can get buffs. So make sure you stack up on them. Buff yourself. Use the health buff. Use the compound. You know, put on your Nef metal detector. That's not going to buff you, but use that to get Nef metal. And then use your trinkets. Use anything that you can to buff your stuff. All right? I want to see more people doing the most they can in their power. All right? But without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next video. And last thing, make sure you guys try to get your CR as high as possible, because that's going to contribute towards these stats, obviously. But without further ado, if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys leave it down in the comment section. And last thing I want to say, we are recruiting for my League Eager. I am the leader of it. If you guys would like to join, make sure you guys are joining the link down below in the description, my Discord, and contacting me. To be honest, there's no real set requirements other than be active. Mainly have 200 arts and high allies, because that's just part of the game. You got to have those things leveled up. There is a big sale right now. Like, I think it's like a 18-day sale still left. So if you guys are missing stuff, this is the time to do it. And without further ado, I hope you guys catch me around, and see you guys in the next video. We do have an Earth DPS video coming up. We also have some fire tank video coming up, and we also have a atomic tank video coming up. We have a lot of videos coming up, so I hope that you guys all stay tuned. Make sure you guys are turning on notifications and subscribing, liking, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.